I'm a relationship psychologist. For more than 20 years, I've sat with couples at every stage: newlyweds, long married partners, people rebuilding after betrayal, people who thought the fire had gone out forever. Today, I'm going to give you what I wish I could have handed clearly and without apology to every man who ever sat across from me in my office. No academic theory, no vague promises, just what psychology, neuroscience, and thousands of real hours with real couples have shown me again and again. Let me ask you one simple question before we continue. Do you actually know where and how a woman wants to be touched? I'm not talking about the obvious zones most men default to. I'm talking about the places that open her emotionally, the touches that make her feel truly seen and safe long before her body ever responds. Countless men have told me, I know my partner very well. Yet when I ask that exact question, the room usually goes quiet. Why? Because no one ever taught this properly. There is no manual, and women, even when they feel these needs intensely, rarely spell them out in words. They show you through posture, through the way their eyes soften or flicker, through tiny signals most men walk right past. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 key zones. But understand this first. These are not merely body parts, they are emotional gateways. When you learn what they are, and far more importantly, how to approach them with the right energy, your partner's entire response to you will change. Your hands will stop being just hands. They become a language she understands on a level most words can never reach. Here's the central truth I've seen repeated across more than 2 decades of clinical work. Most men move on instinct. They believe that finding the right spot automatically produces pleasure, but for women, pleasure almost never begins mechanically. It begins with emotional safety. Many men are convinced they're doing everything correctly. From her perspective, though, the touch often feels mechanical, one-sided, disconnected. You may have quietly asked yourself at some point, why doesn't she respond the way she used to? Why does it feel different now, even when nothing obvious has changed? The answer is simpler and more uncomfortable than most men want to admit. What men take for granted almost never creates the emotion women need. Women do not respond to stimulation alone. They respond to intention, to awareness, to genuine presence. When a woman feels in her whole being that you are truly there with her, her body follows naturally. But here's the difficulty. Women rarely tell you directly what they need. They show it. One former patient said something that has never left me: "Don't touch me just to touch me. Let me feel that you're really here first." That one sentence captures what so many women experience but never say out loud. This is not about technique. It's about opening a psychological door before anything physical happens. So let's begin. Zone 1. The hands. I'm starting here because it's the zone most men dramatically underestimate. A woman's hands are intimately tied to her emotional state. When you take them slowly, when you hold them with calm warmth, when you trace a gentle line along her fingers or rest steady pressure in her palm, you are touching far more than skin. In my practice, I've seen it clearly. Couples who continue to hold hands, even after 30 or 40 years together, consistently report a stronger, more resilient emotional bond. This is not sentimentality. Holding hands releases oxytocin, the hormone of trust, bonding, and safety. One small detail almost every woman notices and very few men consider: neglected hands kill the moment. Rough, cold, or careless hands undo everything. Clean, warm, attentive hands signal respect before you ever say a word. Zone 2, the nape of the neck, right at the hairline, where so much unconscious tension hides. When you touch this area slowly, wordlessly, without any agenda, the nervous system begins to downshift. This is not a sexual zone. It is a trust zone, a soothing zone. I once watched a man in his late 50s, convinced his wife no longer saw him, simply rest his hand gently on the back of her neck while she stood looking out the window. No words, no expectation. She froze for a second, then exhaled deeply, then turned and looked at him with something soft in her eyes they hadn't shared in years. That one quiet gesture reopened a door they both thought had closed. Zone 3, the lower back, between waist and hips. This place symbolizes stability and support. When you rest your hands here, lightly, without gripping, without pulling, you communicate something powerful. I'm here, you're safe, and you're still free. This touch works beautifully in ordinary, unglamorous moments. Standing behind her in the kitchen at 7 a.m., your chest against her back, your hands warm and still, no need to speak. Zone 4, behind the ear, along the jawline beneath it. This is a highly sensitive area that only opens when trust is already present. Too much pressure shuts it down. Light warmth and delicacy invite it in. A woman once told me, "That touch didn't make me feel sexy. It made me feel valued." For many women, feeling valued is the emotion that has to arrive first. Zone 5, between the shoulder blades. One of the most overlooked places. Psychologically, this spot represents protection. It's an area she cannot reach or see herself. When you lay your hand there gently, steady, unhurried, you send the message, "I've got you." Her breathing slows, her mind quiets. This is not a sexual touch, and that is precisely why it carries so much power. Zone 6, inner thighs, near the knees. Be very clear. This is not about genital areas. This is a transitional space, close, respectful, suggestive, without crossing the line. Approached slowly and intentionally, it quietly says, "I'm near you, and I honor your timing." Many men rush past this zone entirely. That's exactly where emotional trust begins to erode. Zone 7, the lower abdomen around the navel. This is the one that surprises most men. The lower belly is where raw instinct and deep emotion converge. This touch demands complete sincerity, no performance, no agenda. Place your hand there slowly, warmly, reverently, as though you're holding something irreplaceable. When a woman allows your hand here, she is giving you access not just to her body, but to her most vulnerable inner world. Why do these zones matter so much? Because women don't process touch purely physically. They process it emotionally and neurologically. Research consistently shows that female skin has a higher density of certain touch receptors in these areas. More importantly, these zones reliably trigger oxytocin release, the biochemical foundation of trust, bonding, and emotional openness. These are not erogenous zones in the conventional sense. They are emotional sensors. They signal to her entire system, this person is safe. Practical guidance, short and non-negotiable. Slow down. Watch her. Really watch her. Reactions. Use these touches in everyday, unsexy moments. Stay present. Stay consistent. One man said to me recently, "I don't know exactly what changed, but she feels closer to me now." That's the entire point. Women don't always name the change. They feel it. These 7 zones are not magic buttons. They are doors. Every time you approach them with real attention and respect, you are saying, without words, the 3 things most women long to feel. I see you. I respect you. You matter. That, far more than any technique, is what opens everything else. And the good news? It is never too late to start. Sometimes a single conscious, present touch is enough to begin an entirely new chapter.